Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sara.
The soccer content you not only want, but you need.
Other than our last video, which, in case anyone is wondering, we put a community post up. We put up the video that we mainly focused about Ellen White and the controversial penalty kick. And
UEFA came for us.
It got blocked because the copyright enforcement came. So if anyone was wondering and they did not see our community post, that is what happened. It probably at this point will just, I won't be able to fix it. However, people left some really good comments, but they were great comments. So if anyone was wondering about that, but we're going to actually just focus on one team in particular. We're going to focus on the Netherlands team, because what is happening over at the Netherlands squad for the Dutchies is kind of mind-blowing, everything that's going on. So we're going to focus on them. And I will say also, Sara and I have been enjoying the Euros. They've been, CONCACAF is going on at the same time, but the Euros have really gotten our attention. Sara and I have been watching other matches. I've really just focused on Group A and then Group C. Those are the teams I kind of really following. Group A and Group C. I haven't watched many of the Group B and Group D games, but they're all exciting. So we're going to talk about Netherlands, because what happened at the Netherlands game, what happened at the first Netherlands game was wild, and what's continually happening at the Netherlands squad is kind of mind-blowing in a lot of ways. First and foremost, we talked about it in the last video that got taken down, but there was a collision in the game against Sweden. It ended up a 1-1 draw, but in the first 10 minutes, there was a collision between two defenders and the goalkeeper.
Sari van Veenendaal.
And then one of the defenders had to come out. And then in about 10 minutes later, there was almost like a separate injury, and it was Van Veenendaal's shoulder that looked injured, and she came out. So at that point, we did not know the updates of those players at that point. This is almost a week ago, but I'm just kind of giving an overview. But it came out that the goalkeeper, she's out. She's out for the rest of the Euros.
Oh my gosh.
That's and
wild. To
have the goalkeeper go out, the captain of your team, that is something where it's just like, okay, that happened. I understand. The kind of thing happened. So so after closer investigation has been found that it is no longer possible for her to take action in this European Championship. Then number 2, she was also injured, but it looks like she is back. She missed the game against Portugal, but she is back. So that led us to, those two players, that happened like a week ago. That was kind of wild to begin with, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Then, so after they played Sweden, the next game was Portugal, that we're going to kind of talk about in a second. But right before the Portugal game was to happen, a couple days before that, it comes out that Jackie Groenen has been tested positive for COVID-19.
No.
She tested positive and therefore will be in isolation for the next few days. When she is complaint-free and the tests are negative, she can rejoin the selection. So that's out. She's out for the Portugal game. So you're thinking, okay, that's kind of wild, but that kind of thing happens? I don't even know. So that happened. Then
it gets wilder. It gets wilder and wilder. But wait.
Yeah.
There's more.
Yeah. Then I think this shook everyone. Vivianne Miedema, she tested positive.
Oh no.
And when I heard this, I was shook. I was like, wait, Viv? No. I mean, there's no reason why anyone is susceptible, but I'm thinking this is like the number one striker on the team. This is like what you build your offense with, you know what I mean?
It's an important asset to the team, for sure.
And then I heard that, and also all these players who want to play, they want to play at the Euros. It was 5 years ago, the Euros, because a year had passed for COVID. They postponed it. Mm-hmm. 5 years. This is what they wait their lifetime. Kelly Clarkson, a moment like this. You wait your lifetime to play at the Euros, at the World Cup, the Olympics, and then you get COVID-19 and you just can't play. We don't know. All I know is that what they had said is they're isolating now, but when they have no symptoms and they test negative, they can rejoin the team. But who knows when that will be. As of I'm recording this video tonight on Thursday, I haven't had an update of them. We know that number 2 is coming back, but we do not know about Jackie and Viv. Okay, so when I heard that, I couldn't believe it.
I know.
Then they had a game against Portugal, and we're going to go briefly over this game. There was another kind of controversy that happened that I wanted to talk about, but it is Netherlands versus Portugal. And I mean, this is a must-win game. You know, they tied against Sweden. This is like a must-win game for Netherlands. So there's so much on the line, but all those players are out. And, you know, Portugal's not a favorite, but any team can beat any team in this kind of...
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, it's Portugal versus Netherlands. I guess I'll talk about this now because this is kind of the thing. A couple days ago, and I only found this out from watching the broadcast, the World Cup broadcast. A couple days ago, Jill Roord made some comments about, I guess, about Mark Parsons, their coach. And I'm actually going to read what this was on the ESPN broadcast. I'm going to have Sarah read this, and then we're going to kind of talk about it. And then we're going to have a kind of an update as well.
Okay, so this is Jill Roord on head coach Mark Parsons. He is different from our culture, and it takes time getting used to that. He also asks a lot of questions. He likes to go in depth. About 50% of us tune out. Me too, to be honest. He is learning, and he is getting better.
Yeah. And I believe those are translated comments from Dutch. So
yeah,
that's number one. I believe those are the translated comments. But I mean, it was pretty clear what she was saying. And a lot of people in the media really reacted to that. What was your thought when you first heard those comments?
First of all, I thought it was pretty funny. Joking or not, sarcasm or not. And coming from a different culture, they don't even speak. I mean, they speak different languages.
Yeah, that's a good question. Does he speak Dutch? I don't know. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I know they all probably know English, but it's
a transition.
I just thought it was funny.
I thought it was actually pretty. I thought it was pretty funny because I could see someone who was young. Jill's pretty young, just kind of saying that we tune it out. You know, like, and I totally get that as someone who. I can respect someone completely, but still, if they're saying something, tune it out totally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's almost like I mean, she was quoted here, but it's almost like you're having a conversation with someone, and you're just being chill, relaxed, and just saying that, just joking around.
Yeah.
Really.
So it was just a joke, and I think it was just like an off the cuff remark about just trying to be silly. She's just trying to be silly, kind of be funny, just kind of talking about it.
Well, Emma Hayes got it. She said that her team probably tunes her out most of the time too, so she gets it from a coach's standpoint.
I'll kind of give you the follow-up from those statements, but those statements were, and she came out a couple days later, she said statements about national coach were meant to be sarcastic. So it says football star Jill Roord explained after the 3-2 victory of the Orange against Portugal that her earlier statements about national coach Mark Parsons have been misconstrued. According to the Orange International, her statements that players sometimes drop out at the long explanation of the coach were meant to be sarcastic.
Roord said in the interview that the players also had to get used to the English national coach. He likes to go in depth, and that 50% will drop out with us. Me too, she said. According to the Football Star, there is no fuss about nothing. I didn't get anything from it. I focused on the game, the Orange player told ESPN. In my experience, I've been very sarcastic. We talked about that Mark really likes to talk, and that I have a tense arc of 1 minute. It is because of me that I sometimes fall asleep, which of course I don't. I fall not asleep. That's sarcastic.
That might have been translated, too.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems translated.
I think Jill's young. She's a young, to me, all the players are young because I'm older than all of them. But, she was just saying something meant to be silly and sarcastic. And I totally get what she's saying. But one thing that when Steffi and Emma Hayes on the broadcast were talking about it, they said, as much as it's a joke and it's sarcasm, you have to know when maybe to not be joking and sarcastic too. And I get that.
I would make a terrible soccer player.
Yeah. I get that too, but hopefully everyone knows that she didn't mean anything. Okay, so those remarks came out after the football game, but before they still were kind of, the remarks about Mark Parsons were out there. And they went into that match kind of with that kind of drama. The 4 players being out. B, the internal, is there a problem with Jill and Mark? Which there's not. But I mean, that's kind of what the media kind of spins. So going into the game, there's all these facets going on, all these factors going on that's very dramatic around the Netherlands team.
Yes, very dramatic.
Long story short, Portugal 3-2. And they go in there, and I'm going to go over the game. Coming out 6 minutes, Netherlands score. The first half, Netherlands looked really great. Then in the 16th minute, Van der Groot scored, but was also kicked in the face at the same time.
Oof.
Remember that?
That was very painful.
Yeah, and so that looked, I was thinking, not another one. She seemed to get up and look good okay after that. Then 20th minute, there was a penalty kick for Portugal. It was a VAR checked it over, and it was awarded to Portugal, and they scored. 2-1 at that point. Second half, going in 2-1 Netherlands. First half, Netherlands did look pretty good. Second half, Portugal, they weren't going down without a fight, because they scored in the 47th minute, and it was tied.
Wow.
Wow. And so it was a tie. Then, I'm just kind of skipping around this game. Jill Roord did have an offsides goal in like the 60th minute, and I thought it was a goal. Everyone thought it was a goal, and that would have made it 3-2. But in the 62nd minute, who scored?
Danielle van de Donk.
She had a magnificent goal. That was
magnificent. I like that.
That's one you would see like in a movie. Like you see, she goes for the goal and she kicks it in, and it was beautiful.
It's a Disney movie right there.
Yes. And also, I'll kind of go back to the goal. From everything she's gone through, her injuries, and who knows if she was going to make it back on the squad for the Euros because of her injuries. Then she scores in such an important game and is the tiebreaker, And then Sara and I kind of got a kick out of this. She goes, I forget who she jumps on, but
she took him out. It was WWE. It was wrestling. It was definitely a wrestling move if I've ever seen one.
They end up on the ground.
Yeah.
I loved it. But that was a great goal. It's beautiful. the where she put it right in the net.
I know.
Such a strong strike too.
She did the damn thing.
Beautiful. Also, Jill Roord got a yellow card like in the 88th minute, something like that. They kind of got a little chippy at the end, a little feisty, both teams, and Jill was not having it. And I wonder if Jill kind of also is just annoyed with people, kind of the whole thing that happened too with the comments and everything. Because I honestly, going back to the comments, that can affect your play, but it can affect maybe in a good way. Just be like, I don't care about what anyone's saying. If people want to think there's a problem, there's not, and then
I'm gonna show them up.
Yeah, exactly. So 3-2, Netherlands win, and I was really excited to see them win. Like I said, Portugal could have won that game, but also, the Netherlands won the Euros 5 years ago, and at that time they weren't meant to win it. Then no one had it thought that they were going to win it, but it was at home. It was like a fairy tale when they won it. I still think they're in it. I think so much is going on with them, and sometimes those storylines of so many people getting hurt, having COVID, and then it just turns out well. I still think England's going to win. We just watched the Sweden game as well. I believe they are playing the Swiss on Sunday. I believe they have to tie on the Swiss. A tie with the Swiss to get into the quarterfinals.
I was in my head that you were saying Thailand and the Swiss.
No, yeah.
Switzerland.
Not Thailand. This is the Euros.
Okay.
So, what does everyone think? What does everyone think about all the Netherlands? What is going on with them? Also, what does everyone think about the game and Jill's comments? Are you like Sara and I, who just think it's a fun thing? She's just playing along. I have seen some criticism online that says even if you're joking, you should not be joking about you should know that's not, you shouldn't joke, basically. But
the world is just gonna go up in flames if no one ever jokes. Like, come on.
Yeah, and
I know there's a time and a place, but chill, bro.
Yeah. And then also unrelated, but it is Viv's birthday today. I actually don't know how old she is. 26, 27. It is officially her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Oh, goodness. So happy birthday, Viv. Hopefully you are feeling better. She's 26. Hopefully you're feeling better, and hopefully you're able to play. Maybe she'll be able to play against...
I love how you say this to her like she's watching.
So she is in quarantine, so she might be able to play. I think it's every person who has COVID is in an individual case. Some people don't clear for weeks. Some people clear in a couple days. Also, Jackie Groenen, will she be available? And also... they're not saying whether or not they're asymptomatic or not, and that's a big thing, So happy birthday, Viv. And actually, I've seen this around. Sometimes Sarah and I were just talking about it. There's so much pressure on Viv. Maybe part of her is just like, this sucks, but almost once she had COVID, the pressure's almost off now. Nothing she can do, There's nothing she can do, good or bad.
Yeah, I get that's kind of like it's like you're bummed, but also kind of like tiny bit of a relief.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, depending on who you are.
Right, because Sarah and I were talking about Simone Biles last summer with the Olympics had so much pressure on her.
Yeah.
And then she said when she ended up having medical issues that it almost was a relief. I don't have to, it's not in my hands anymore. I've just let it go, basically. So maybe Viv has a little bit of that, but I doubt it just because she wants to win so bad. She wants to win for the Netherlands. But yeah, so we are still pumped. What does everyone think? Questions, comments down below. Also, there's a bunch we haven't done a video about the CONCACAF Championships. I think that will be our next video. Because that is also very exciting. Not quite as exciting as the Euros. Still very exciting. What does everyone think? Questions, comments down below. And we'll talk to everyone later. Have a great night.
Peace.